Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. President Biden has agreed to supply anti-personnel landmines to Ukraine. This comes only days after lifting US restrictions on the use of long-range missiles on Russian territory by Ukraine. The Kremlin's response has been swift and chilling. The Russian nuclear doctrine has been revised, and Kremlin spokespersons have yet again threatened global nuclear war. In addition, threats of a Russian missile attack on the US embassy in Kyiv have resulted in its temporary closure, although the Polish and British embassies remain open. How seriously should we take this threat, and what can the world do to bring the temperature down a little? Well, to explore the implications of this development, I am joined by Rostyslav Khotin, a senior editor with Ukrainian Service RFE/RL. Rostyslav, hello and welcome. Thanks for taking the time.
Hello.
So let's start with a conversation that's been reported by the press service of the Ukrainian president and in European Pravda, which talks of a conversation, a telephone call, between Prime Minister Tusk of Poland and President Zelenskyy. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, they spoke on the phone, and President Zelenskyy thanks Polish Prime Minister Tusk for preparing the 45th package of military aid to Ukraine, which will be delivered soon. And also Tusk said that they are already preparing for the next package after the next. So there will be more to come, more to follow packages. We don't know what's in this package, but Ukraine now badly needs artillery shells. And also Ukraine needs the remaining Soviet-made MiG-29 fighter jets, which Poland still has, but is unlikely to deliver because it will be kind of exposed Polish airspace. So Poland is not about to deliver this remaining MiG-29 fighter jets.
Understood. So Poland has committed in this call to continuing to provide military aid to Ukraine, which of course is completely in line with what it's been doing from the beginning. But there was also a request, as the report in Pravda says, about President Zelenskyy asking Prime Minister Tusk to use influence both in the European Union and NATO to support Ukraine's membership of both organizations. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Zelenskyy said that having in mind, Tusk's very close connections, very solid contacts with Western leaders, he wants Poland to push through the idea of Ukraine's NATO membership rather sooner than later. Also on the European Union track, Zelenskyy expressed hope that under Polish presidency of the European Council, which will start on the 1st of January 2025, Ukraine hopes to open the first chapter, the first cluster of negotiations with the European Union under Polish presidency. Just to remind you, there are 33 chapters which are centered in 6 clusters, and Ukraine wants to open the first cluster, which is called fundamental spheres, which usually opens first and also close the last. So it's a very crucial cluster, but not this only, but several other clusters as well. So Ukraine has high hopes for Polish presidency in the European Union.
Understood.
And also two leaders discussed the idea of after German Chancellor recently, Olaf Scholz, called Russian President Putin and then informed Prime Minister Tusk about this call. Both Tusk and Zelenskyy said that this kind of phone diplomacy with Putin, which leads to kind of sense of kind of that Russia is not isolated, the Kremlin is not isolated, it will lead to that end, to nothing. So
understood.
They both,
but I'd like to move specifically, sir, to President Zelensky's request for Prime Minister Tusk to influence membership of NATO of Ukraine. What can Poland do, and what does President Zelensky expect?
Taking into account strong and close ties between Poland and the United States, now there is understanding in Kyiv that Poland could influence somehow President Trump, the president-elect, which will take the presidency, start presidency in January next year. And because so far under Biden, President Joe Biden, the US and Germany remained two skeptical powers within NATO for a quick Ukrainian accession to NATO, to the military alliance. So Ukraine hopes that Poland somehow could persuade both the United States and Germany to remove this kind of skepticism. But we will see, because apparently Trump's team has a lot of skepticism about Ukrainian accession to NATO, especially quick accession to NATO. And there was a leak from Trump's team that they will insist during peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, the United States under Trump will insist on 20-year moratorium on NATO membership for Ukraine, no membership for 20 years.
Understood. Well, we shall, of course, be watching those talks very, very closely on TVP World. Now, I'd like to move on to President Biden's agreement for allowing ATACMS missiles to be used on Russian territory, and also now the supply of anti-personnel mines. What is behind this, do you think, at this stage of President Biden's presidency?
First of all, President Biden is not tied to any kind of commitments. He has free hand now with less than 2 months of remaining in the office. So he gave his go-ahead for Ukraine permission to strike Russian territory, military targets on Russian territory. Secondly, this decision was influenced heavily by the presence of North Korean troops on the Russian soil, especially, particularly in Kursk region, where Ukrainian armed forces are conducting operations since the beginning of August. And it's also important to notice that Ukraine already twice used this permission. First, striking Russian, the day before yesterday, Russian territory. And it's also important to notice that there was a kind of understanding that President Biden, the White House, gave go-ahead permission to strike Russian military targets only in Kursk region. But Ukrainians strike with ATACMS military base, military installation in the neighboring Bryansk region of Russian Federation. So Ukrainians feel that they are not tied, kind of limited only to Kursk region of Russia.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Now, of course, as expected, the Kremlin has responded, and of course, their biggest and perhaps most chilling response has been to rewrite their nuclear doctrine, which basically says that if Ukraine is supported by other countries, then those other countries are also at war with Russia, or the other way around, if those weapons are used on Russian territory. What do you make of that, and does this bring nuclear war closer?
We don't know whether it's bringing nuclear war closer. I don't think so. But the thing is that, yes, indeed, President Putin, before there was a line in Russian nuclear doctrine that if there is existential threat to Russian Federation or territorial integrity or sovereignty of Russian Federation, existential threat. Now it's been reduced to just strategic threat, whatever it means. And also there is now a line that if territorial integrity, someone invades Russian territory when territorial integrity is violated. So Russia has significantly reduced the kind of phase when this nuclear button can be pushed by the Russian leader. But at the same time, I don't think that there is a real chance of nuclear war, nuclear strike by Russia, because it will immediately provoke response from the Western partners of Ukraine. And also Russia said that even if non-nuclear state attacks Russia with the help of nuclear state, meaning Ukraine help with America behind its back. So that also could provoke Russian strike. But the thing is, the more dangerous thing is that Russia can strike Ukrainian nuclear power plants, or as it does now, Russia now strikes substations near Ukrainian power plants, which will connect nuclear power plants with electricity grids. And it also is very dangerous because it can provoke technical faults at nuclear stations of Ukraine.
Understood, but there is a risk, is there not, that the radioactivity that's released would also travel towards Russia if that were to happen. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Radiation has no borders, doesn't know any borders.
Right.
If something happens at nuclear station, or just simple tactical nuclear strike or missile strike with nuclear warhead, the radiation has no borders.
Well, so you mentioned a tactical nuclear strike. Can you explain what that is and how it differs from a strategic nuclear strike?
Strategic is conducted usually by intercontinental ballistic strategic missiles. You know, it's like it's a very powerful strike which kind of significant consequences. A tactical strike, it's a small warhead, tactical missile, you know, bomb, or even artillery shell, you know, if you want. So it's kind of smaller scale, limited. But nevertheless, the Ukrainian territory is not that big. Radiation doesn't, as I said, doesn't know any borders. When Chernobyl disaster happened, 80% of radiation went to neighboring Belarus because of wind blew in the direction of Belarus. We don't know what kind of circumstances will be if Russia really decides. But I don't think that Russia will go for nuclear option.
Or even a tactical nuclear option, yes?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
yes,
now,
because,
yes, sorry, go on. Very quickly, please.
It's important. Even Russian partners like China, for instance, played crucial role in persuading, in making clear to the Kremlin, stop using this kind of wording about nuclear strikes, about nuclear weapons, stop this kind of nuclear blackmail. Even China, and President Xi of China should be credited for that he sent several times, he sent clear messages to Moscow: stop these nuclear games, stop this threatening of using nuclear arms against Ukraine.
Thank you very much, Rostyslav Khotin, for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good evening, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you.
And that's all from us on this episode of World Talks. Good night.